Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you have clicked on this video and have not subscribed to my channel, please do, because if you aren't subscribed and are watching this video, it is an absolute crime. So, after you subscribe, let's get right into this video in which I rate the members of the Manchester United squad. So after you press that button on the bottom right hand corner of your screens, let's get right into this. There are many players in our squad, so I'll try to do this as quickly as possible and try to make it as less boring as possible. So here we go. First up is our right back Aaron Van Bissaka, who I'm gonna, without any frustration or any bother, put in the class category, because I know many people have a problem with Aaron Van Bissaka, and I also sometimes get frustrated, I must say, with his attacking output. But I feel, other than that, he is one of the best 1v1 defenders in the world, and defensively, he is pretty sound. And as he progresses in his career, he will only be getting better. So that's class for him. Ahmad Diallo in front of us is I think I'll put him in a good category. He's a young kid, and he hasn't played much for us, but has a bright future and fits nicely in the good category. Next up, Andres Pereira, without bothering at all, putting him in should sell. He went out alone last season. I'm not a very big fan of him. I don't think he is good enough for our team, to be very honest. Not a Manchester United player, and we need to sell players so that we can buy a bit more in the transfer market. And I feel that Pereira has had his chance, and I just don't feel he's good enough for our team. Anthony Martial is next up. I'm going to put him straight up in the good category. I Based on the last season's performance, I feel he underperformed really massively. I feel he has a lot of talent as a striker. He can be one of the best strikers in the world, just needs to work on his finishing and needs to be a little more focused, I'll say, on his game, something which I didn't see last season. I felt his mind was somewhere else. I don't know, I might be just speaking rubbish, but I feel he's in the good category, and he has a good chance of proving himself next season and possibly push himself up back into the class category. Next up, we have, this is Axel Tuanzebe. I'll put him straight up in should sell, to be very honest. I was going to put him up in the good section, but I'll put him up in the should sell section. I feel Axel Tuanzebe is a very good player, and I became a huge fan of his after his famous performance against PSG, where he pocketed Kylian Mbappe and Neymar Jr. But I just don't think rather that Ole Gunnar trusts him a lot. I feel if he did trust him, he would have had a lot more opportunities, and I just feel now we have Maguire, Lindelof, Rafael Varane and Eric Bailly as well in the club, and maybe not sell, but maybe sending him for a loan will be the smart decision. So that's why I have gone and put him up in the should sell category, on the basis of him not being a bad player, but on the basis of him needing game time, and maybe if he goes on loan, he will get that game time which is necessary. Moving on, next we have Brandon Williams, which again, I'll put him again in maybe the bearable category, actually, not the should sell category. I say this because I don't know if any of you all have realized, but we actually have only one right back at this club, Aaron Van Bissaka, who relentlessly has been played last season and may need rest. And that's why I thought keeping Brandon Williams is important as the backup right back to Aaron Van Bissaka. And I'll put him in the bearable section. When he started playing first, I felt that he, as is a good player. He might still be a good player. I feel he has quite a lot of potential, but just right now with Bissaka and maybe even Trippier coming in, I just don't see many chances for him. Maybe sending him on the loan will be a good option, but as of now, I'll put him in the bearable section. Next up, we have Bruno Fernandes, as you can see, without any hesitation, right in the stupendous section. I do this because he's such a brilliant man. He is such a charismatic character on the pitch, and to a certain extent has changed our fortunes, man. Like, since he has come into the club, it has been absolutely phenomenal. He's not only come in with a brilliant game. I feel he has lifted the others with him, which was very important. He came when United were in a very rough patch and has picked us up a lot, and we as fans should be very thankful to him. I know that many fans don't like him, and everyone has their own opinion, but I feel that he has done a very good job for us and has to come in the stupendous section. Next up, we have Daniel James, who again I don't need to say much about him. I'll put him in the should sell section. Average player, has got his chances and should be sold for a bit more revenue. David De Gea, straight, I'll put him in the should sell section as well. I know this might be a shocker, but I don't think that he is what he was at one time. Many may disagree, but I feel his wages are too high. With such high wages, I don't think he deserves a place in the squad. If his wages were lesser, maybe, but I think his wages are too high and he should be sold. It will be a tough thing to sell him with such high wages, but he should be sold just on the basis that I feel he isn't what he was at one time. Next up, we have Dean Henderson, who I am going to put in the good section. Now, many may disagree, many may like De Gea better than Henderson, and I know many people kind of hate Henderson, but I see a good goalkeeper in him in the future, and I feel he has that attitude that a number one United goalkeeper needs, and he has this season to prove himself, so let's see what happens. For me, he's in the good section. Dalot should sell, no doubts about that. I mean, Dalot should be sold because I just don't think, again, the coaches fancy him, and again, we need revenue for if we need to buy any more players, and I feel he should move on and be sold to Italy or Real Madrid, even, as a matter of fact. Next up, we have Donny van de Beek, who I'm going to put in the good category. If he wasn't a United player, I would have put him in the class category, but just at United, many don't have the answer of what went wrong with him. Even I don't know what went wrong with him. He was a very promising signing and obviously didn't get to play at all actually last season. Hopefully this season he'll get more chances and proves his worth after all. So I'll put him in a good category. Next up, Edinson Cavani, my personal favorite player of the squad, straight up in the stupendous category. This is just because of the experience the guy has, the movement the guy has around the box, the understanding of the game, and just the way he plays, man. His work ethic is something I love to watch, and surprising to even my own surprise, he did very well last season, which I didn't expect. I didn't expect him to perform the way he did, and he was pretty impressive and has made himself my favorite player in the 1 year he has been here, and I'm happy that he has signed his new contract. Next up, Alex Telles in the good category, good player, good squad player, obviously being held back by Luke Shaw, who's in world-class form right now. Next up we have Eric Bailly, who again I'm just going to put straight up into the should sell section because I feel he's a fan favorite. I know many fans do fancy Eric Bailly, but I don't think, again, the coaches like him. I think he should be sold, again, freeing up spaces. I think he's just signed a new contract so that his value stays up. But Eric Bailly, injury-prone player, gets injured if he plays 2 games on a bounce. Should move on from United. Facundo Pellistri, I'll put him in good. I've not seen much of him to be very honest, but he's a promising player. Another one who should be put on sold, who should be put on loan. I'm sorry. Next up, Fred, putting him up in Berryville. I don't want to put anyone in absolute waste, but Fred, he's just not impressed me to be very honest. I know Souza likes him and few fans also like him, but he's just not United quality for me. Maybe a mid-table side, he will impress. He will impress a lot, but he's just not United quality. He doesn't have a good first touch, and I just don't. I've tried a lot, but haven't been impressed by him that much. Next up, Harry Maguire. Going to put him in the class category. I don't need to say much about Maguire. He's a great defender, a great leader on the pitch, and has been very valuable for us. I feel, he has played almost every game last season and has been pretty good. He had a bad start to the season, but I feel as the season progressed, his game got better and better. Next, I think this is Garner. I'm just going to put him in the good section. He's one for the future, one to keep an eye out for. I feel in the future, if he keeps his head down, he has a very bright future and can be the midfield of United. Jesse Lingard is a good player, but unfortunately, I'm going to put him in should sell. He is a world-class player, Jesse Lingard. He showed his quality when he went to West Ham, but we have bought new players, and I just don't see how he's going to fit back in United. I just think we should sell him, get him off the wages book, get good money, and I think it'll be a very good move for him because I feel he plays much better under the West Ham system. I feel he plays much better under the West Ham system than he does at United. This next goalkeeper, I'll be honest, I don't know who he is, so I'm not going to speak a lot about him. Next up, Juan Mata should sell, no doubts about that. I don't know why he signed. Another one who signed a new contract. I mean, it really came as a surprise to me that he did sign that contract after all. I don't know why he signed that contract. He's become old. Of course, he was a world class player at one time, but he just isn't in his prime. He's lost his legs. Should be sold. Again, another mistake by the United board, I feel, by giving him a new contract. I think this is a Lee Grant, if I'm not wrong. This should sell. Straight up should sell. We have two keepers fighting for the number one spot. We do not need another one. And I just don't think he's a very great keeper. Luke Shaw, stupendous. Great season for us. Last one, great season for England in the Euros, and wow, arguably one of the best centre backs in the world. He's a great player, and stupendous man. Nothing much to say about him. Has improved his game a lot. Has made a great comeback, I feel, from his injury, and is one of the best players we have in our squad. Marcus Rashford, interesting. I'll put him in class. I know many don't like Rashford, but for me, Rashford is one of the best youngsters in the world. Many may disagree, but he's just a great player. He played throughout the last season with an injury, actually. So I just feel like he's gone for surgery this season, and when he comes back, we'll see a different Marcus Rashford, and I predict that he's gonna rip up the season when he comes back. Mason Greenwood, class again, youngster, I think 19 or 20 years of age now. You don't see many players like him in world football, actually. He's one of the best youngsters in the world, can finish with both left and right foot. So Mason Greenwood, great talent, and is one who will be leading our attack in the future. Nemanja Matic, again, arguably should be sold. Like, He's old, isn't what he once was. He can't hold the midfield on his own, something which we desperately need. So I feel it'll be smart for United to sell him off. Next up, the one and only Paul Pogba will come in under the class category for me. I just don't know. Paul Pogba is a great player. I feel he needs to be brought into the midfield and not be played on the wings, which is a mistake. I feel also he's been played on the wings because he doesn't have a central defensive midfielder with him. Like in France, he has Kante with him, which helps him to move up the pitch. So I feel it's very important again for United to buy a central defensive midfielder, and if they do, then I think we will see Pogba really flourish, and hopefully we do that, and hopefully he stays and has a very good season for us. Phil Jones, absolute waste. Don't want to talk much about him. What's the point? What's the point of talking about him? I don't remember the last time he even played for us. Next up, Scott McTominay. I'll put him in the good category. I feel he's a good player. I feel he's very underrated by our fans, and I feel there's a player in him. Alex Ferguson rated him, Mourinho rated him, and now he's one of the favorites of Solskjaer. So obviously there is a player with him. Do I think he's a central defensive midfielder? No. Do I think he's a box-to-box player? Yes, he's a box-to-box player. If you see the highlights of him last season, he always does the damage when he is near the opponent's box, and I think again he's one player who will benefit if a CDM comes in so that he can play his role which he's used to. Romero, really good keeper, but has left the club now unfortunately, so I'm not going to speak about him. This is Shoretire, very good player. I'm going to put him in good, and yeah, I haven't seen much of him to be very honest, but he can be one for the future. Next up, Tahith Chong should sell. Again, we need to free up the wage bill, and I think he's already been loaned out. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure. I think Birmingham is where he's gone, and it's a good move for him. He will be. I don't think he has a chance to play for United, but if he proves us wrong and impresses in the loan, maybe, never say never. I think that's Ted in Mengi. Mengi should be loaned, actually, not sold. He should be loaned. There might be a future for him. I haven't seen much of him again, but he might have a promising future, and let's see what happens with him if he impresses us when he goes on loan. Hopefully he does well, and hopefully whenever he goes on loan, the loan helps him. And next up, Victor Lindelof. I'll put him in the bearable category. That's just because I feel he's a good centre back individually, but when he just doesn't work with Maguire, man. Like, he doesn't have the pace, he's not very strong aerially, and I just don't see him being again United quality. He's a good centre back individually, but as a pair with Maguire, he didn't work at times last season. That partnership caused us to play very defensive, and I don't think he'll get much game time the next season anyway, because Varane's coming in, and I think it's very obvious that the main centre back partnership is going to be Maguire and Varane. So maybe Lindelof might want to move in the future now. I think he's going to be warming a bench a lot this season. So anyway, guys, this is my tier list, and pretty interesting, isn't it? Stupendous, obviously, Fernandes, Cavani, Shaw, and in the class section there's Bissaka, Maguire, Rashford, Greenwood, and Pogba. And let me point out something very interesting here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 players. 12 players who should be sold. So that's one that the board has to take care of. No, 12 players, man. We have a huge squad, and that's why I had to breeze past the players the way I just did. 12 players, dude. Like, 12 players who need to be offloaded. Like, we can sell them off like this. The board needs to get moving. If there are any offers coming in for these players, just let them go, man, and bring in the central defensive midfielder that we need. It can't be said enough. Without a central defensive midfielder, it's going to be tough next season. Other teams are improving. City are buying Grealish. Chelsea are going to do business, Liverpool will do business. So we need a central defensive midfielder and also maybe a backup right back. So these 12 players need to be sold, and that is something which is up to the board. So let's see what happens. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you subscribe to my channel and like this video, and also check out my recent video which I just uploaded, which is also another tier list. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in a bit.